Hi, my name is Victoria. Today I am going to take you through some key pointers in relation to squatting and how to get the most out of your squat. Some simple techniques that you can use to enhance your mobility and your squat techniques as well. So we're going to go through it together. So to start off with, what we want to always look for when we're going into a squat, coming with our feet hip width apart, approximately hip width apart, coming down into a squat. When we're squatting down, we want to make sure we hinge through the hips to bring our hips back, keep our chest upright, eyes straight ahead, and we're coming down. Now when we're coming down, we don't want to come down too far where we tuck too much under with the tailbone. You still want to keep that neutral spine. Coming back up and all the way down. Now with squatting, we want to make sure that as we're coming down into the squat, we monitor the movement of our knees. So when we come down into the squat, you'll see my knees are still tracking over my toes there. So that's where you want them to be. We don't want to let the knees come in as we come down. Now there's a lot of things that we can do to encourage the knees to travel in the correct direction if you're not used to squatting in that manner. So as we come down, we want to activate, tighten our quads, our hamstrings, our glutes, our calves before actually coming down into the squat. What that is going to do is give you more control over the movement and using your breath as well to keep your core nice and tight. So coming down, so those muscles are activated as you come down and as you come up. Another thing you can do is to, with your foot, what you want to do is make sure that you're using the outside of your foot. So open up that arch there. I don't know if you can see a little bit closer. So with your foot, instead of leaving it flat, what I want you to do is clamp your toes into the ground. So crunch your toes into the ground, and then I want to lift this arch up so you've got more weight on the outside of your foot. Now what this does is helps you to make sure that your knee stays in the right direction as you're coming down in the squat. So open up that arch, keep your heel always connected to the ground as well. Sometimes I've seen people's heels lift. If your ankle mobility is tight, that can sometimes lift your heel. You'll need to work on your ankle mobility, but whenever you're squatting, make sure that heel stays on the ground. I'll show you some more tips with that in a moment. But first of all, opening up those arches, really, really important. Now, if you wear high heels, as some of us ladies do, so you might be quite tight in the arches. To be able to get more mobility with your squat, what you can do is if you I've taken that shoe off there, what you can do is you can use a dumbbell or a can or something like that. What you want to do is put your foot directly on, so just the ball of your foot there. You can roll in that direction, putting pressure, and then coming all the way back. And again, this is just gonna roll out the arches to give you more connection with the ground. Now that's the middle part done. Now we're going to rotate to the inside of the arch, doing the same thing, and all the way back. And I do that about 3 times or so, depending on how tight your arches are. And back. And then you can go to the outside of the foot, doing the same thing. Now, if you've done that on one foot, you'll be able to, if you had both your shoes off, you'll be able to see the difference that makes between that arch and that arch. So that is a really handy way to be able to improve your connection with the floor, which is gonna make the foundation of your squat more stable. So when we're coming down into the squat, remember we always have our chest and our eyes up, looking straight ahead. Coming down and back up again. Now, another thing that you can do, if your ankle mobility is quite tight, which is what we just touched on a moment ago, you can actually put something underneath your heels. So you'd be looking at two, ideally you'd want them the same size. Now when we're doing this, what we want to make sure is that you're not too far back where your toes are coming off. You want to have good connection with the floor and only slightly your heels. So what that's going to do is as you're coming down, it's going to be able to compensate for some of the tightness if you have tight ankles. For myself, I don't need this, but it is a way that you can still maintain quite a nice squat if you've got that ankle mobility to work on. So that is some tips for getting the most out of your squat. So if you've got any questions or any other queries or topics that you would like me to cover, then please let me know. I'll be really interested in hearing from you. Don't forget to check out my website. It is www.victoriafitpersonaltraining.com. You'll be able to see our packages and everything available on there, home and gym workouts with videos of each exercise to make it a lot easier for you. So what I want you to do is also check out my other YouTube video, which is the sequence on hip mobility. That is another fantastic one to check out after this. Keep an eye out for some more videos coming up soon. But the next one that you'd want to watch after this is the one on hip mobility is quite fantastic, especially when you're looking at warming up, cooling down before and after your workout. So back to the squat. There's many different squats that you can do. So some basic ones, we've got our body weight squat. We have a goblet squat. Now a goblet squat can be with a kettlebell, for example. I like to turn the kettlebell upside down so the horn is facing down, and you can grip your hands around it. Now with this, when you're using a kettlebell like this, bring it close to your chest. Actually put it on your chest so that you can keep your posture upright, keep your shoulders back, coming down into the squat and back up again. If you want to get a little bit more out of that squat, you can come down and do a 1 1/4 squat. So it's going to look like this, coming down and then up and again. And one more time. We also have, if you wanted something to incorporate a little bit more cardio with your squat, you can do things, you can mix exercises such as, say, a burpee. If you wanted to do a med ball slam with a burpee, so you'd hold the medicine ball. I like to do bounce as I bring it up, slam it down, and you can even add in a push up there as well. So that is the med ball slam. And then you've got the barbell squat, you've got goblet squat, you've got squats are a fantastic movement that you can do in many, many ways. So I'll cover more variety of different squats as well in other episodes, but this one was more mainly featuring how you can enhance your mobility in the squat, how you can get more out of it. In relation to your ankle mobility, if it is tight as well, you may want to practice from here, just coming back as much as you can onto your ankles to stretch them out. And then practicing things like dorsiflexion. So if you're coming down here, you can actually put a resistance band, or you can just use your hands, bring your toes towards you, point them out far. Bring them towards you, point them out far, and get that mobility happening. You can actually hold on to something, and for this one I like to take my shoes off and bring your mobility this way. So, a few handy tips for you to put into play. I'm looking forward to bringing you more videos like this. Like I said, subscribe to my channel, comment if there's any topics you would like me to cover in episodes coming up. But in the meantime, let's hop straight on over to the hip mobility sequence, and I will see you in the next video in just a moment.